Welcome, everyone, to the best, the brightest of podcasters on the internet. We are the DweeBros, and welcome to the DweeBros podcast. How are we all doing tonight? Good?
Not bad.
Excellent.
As you can see, some of us have hats on, jackets. It's a bit chilly here. But start a small fire in your home or in your car, wherever you're listening to this, and just start a small fire.
Closets make an excellent space to start a fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the fire can't get out of the closet if you close the door.
People are too scared, I think, of fires inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I say do it.
And if you're looking for firewood, good kindling stuff, start with your Xbox One games.
We didn't start the fire, it was always burning. What games?
Oh, my bad. If you can't find any of those, well, you're just like the rest of us.
All right, well... I want to start this podcast. You know, we usually talk about games. I want to talk about drugs.
Oh,
I forgot to mention this last podcast, but it involves Marble It Up.
Oh, that game you love.
Yes. So drugs are involved.
So it's Crackdown, but Marble It Up.
Are you saying like
Roll It Up?
The people
Roll It Up.
So what happened was I started playing Marble It Up. This is a good start to this story. So during it, with other games like, you know, Red Dead, something else or whatever, like you have to be engrossed in the story and the music or whatever. Yeah. Marble It Up's like arcadey. They have really great soundtrack to it, but I started to I'll just play something else in the background. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it popped up, but in my YouTube recommendations, it popped up and it said, "What's meth like?" Or like from an ex-meth addict. What is meth like?
Oh, gosh.
So, shouts out to CG Kid is his name. I went through his entire library of videos as I played Marble It Up. As I was trying to beat the high scores on Marble It Up, he was telling me about all these drugs. He was telling me about like meth, what meth was like. He was telling me like what smoking weed was like. I went down through all these, like what's PCP like, how's heroin. He gave me the whole 9 yards. I just want to say that made that game so much better to me because I'll be playing it and it would just take a really hard turn. He'd be like, "Yeah, so meth is like," you could tell he's an ex-meth. He's had, he's
been around the block.
He's had his fair share of meth.
He is not lying that he's tried these drugs. I'll just say that. But really, I mean, he had a lot of like knowledge of doing these drugs and these experiences. But he would be talking like, "Yeah, I tried meth and, it did this to me, blah, blah, blah." But then it would take a hard turn at stuff, and it would crack me up. "Yeah, so I said if I ever wanted to do this drug again," or I know what it was, if marijuana, at the end of the marijuana video, if it ever became legal, I did say in an earlier video, I would cut my hair. I'm not going to do that. When I do cut my hair, I ship it off to Korea because I like to say my hair's in South Korea. So, thank you for watching. And just weird turns where he was serious. It was like, no, go back on that.
Oh, my gosh.
I guess this guy shipped his hair off to South Korea. But one of the best stories. But this made me really, me and my wife talked about this. And we actually watched the video. I showed her. And he was talking about meth. And meth, to me, that was the thing he was the most addicted to. He talked about what level he got addicted to each thing, what each of them did to you. It was really, I say check it out, but just let him live it for you. But the one with meth was kind of scary, kind of extreme, because he mentioned it this way, and that's all I need to know about meth. "Yeah, so when you have sex or whatever, that releases 200 dopamine units, and I'll just do this by dopamine units. If you do heroin, it's 600 dopamine units. And if you do meth, it's 1,500 dopamine units." And I went, "Oh my gosh." He was like, because that was the scariest part. If you're on that level, how can you come back from that? You know what I mean? How can you live a normal life if you
have
hit
more sex?
1,500. There you go. You can just do that.
Yikes,
but that scared me because if you hit 1,500 dopamine units, can you imagine living just normal like me and you sitting down just?
I'd be depressed.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
man,
he was 5 months sober when he was making some of these videos.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Shouts out CG Kid.
Stay sober.
And shouts out Marble It Up. I say combine drugs and Marble It Up.
One question.
Through listening to him.
Has he ever taken horse tranquilizers?
Look it up.
If he hasn't, he's not as hardcore as people I know.
I'll stop talking about drugs after this. There's another video. You guys got to check
Guys,
it
we
out.
are not endorsing these things,
We're
by
not.
the way.
Because he started to explain like how high, like a crazy high that he had. And it felt so good and I don't want to act like it's good. And I'm not trying to say you should do it. Because then later on he was just like, but guys, this really does have bad side effects if you do like meth. He said, it's called the meth lie. I used to walk into a room, and I thought I was the coolest person. I thought I knew everything. I thought I was better than everything. But in reality, I hadn't had a shower in 2 months, and like his hair was messed up. But he would walk into a room like, I'm the coolest, like this guy here.
I'm the coolest guy
kind
in
of
the
imagine
world.
that scene from Wolf of Wall Street. It was like, everything went right, and he was this messed up guy. But
Wow.
check out drugs on
CG
YouTube.
Kid.
On YouTube.
YouTube
And,
Spotlight of the
It's the
Week.
most roundabout way. This guy went the most roundabout way of like, don't do drugs. So check him out. But we aren't only about drugs here.
Can we get him on the podcast?
I would love to.
Can you make a phone call? We'll just see if you can reach out to him.
CG Kid, if you're watching right now, give me a ring if you're not, doped out of your mind. But so
That's messed up. Just a little bit.
just a little bit. But
Just a little bit.
I'm just kidding. He's addicted to Marble It Up now.
Hey, the best drug in the world.
I was
Video games.
I was addicted to Marble Up, and I should have known.
If meth is 1,500 dopamine units, Marble It Up is
Marble
2,000.
It Up is where it's at. I'm starting to get sad just talking right now.
Man,
honestly,
maybe you should go play some Marble It Up.
But luckily there was other games that was played. We did some hangouts. Some hangouts were had.
Pretty solid hangouts.
From the last podcast, we got too involved in Red Dead. Way too involved. But there's a hangout I did solo, just like Clint Eastwood and Fistful of Dollars. Red Dead Redemption. Pretty fun. Was possessed by a cowboy demon in that one as well. Medieval was Zach. That was pretty cool.
That's coming out soon.
Yeah, the remake. So we just
That
chose
is
to do
out.
that.
Right?
It is out?
They hung out and played it?
The original.
No, you played the
you're talking about
original.
the remake. Yeah, he's talking about the remake.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah,
Redo.
we played the old one to get ready for the remaster.
It would have been cool if it was the remaster, because then you would have been playing all remasters this month.
Yeah, but we cheated.
You
the
came
system.
close.
Just up your res, up it to 4K when you watch that one. Spyro, we played. Came over and checked that out. Really
Chasing
fun.
the Dragon, man.
And then finally, Pokemon Let's Go again. Kenny swooped in with the Pokemon. How is Pokemon? Because Kenny is here because
Pokemon?
we had an emergency meeting and said we need a Poke expert. That's really why he had to
Professor
be here.
My
Gabbard.
Pokédex is at 0. Yours is at almost 0, because you only watched him play.
Yeah.
What's your Pokédex?
I played a little bit, but
-5.
But he's so tell us, kind of wrap up. I know you spoke a lot on the Hangouts, but not everybody watches those. What's kind of your
What
what's your
is
take on-
Pokemon Let's Go?
Okay. So, when we played at the Hangouts,
Yeah.
I was all about this game.
Oh, so you've shifted. You're on the dark side now. You're Team Rocket.
I've had the most frustrating... I would say I've had the most frustrating past 2 days.
Yeah.
Not just with the game, but with the Switch in general.
Yeah.
So up to... it's basically just... It's a remake of Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah.
We talked about it. And you go through the main difference is you don't battle wild Pokemon. You catch them. You get experience that way. Cool things are that if you start chaining the combos of the Pokemon, you can get like crazy experience. My fiance and I were playing last night. We were trying to get a shiny Ponyta.
Check out Shiny Ponyta.
Check out the Shiny Ponyta video. It's awesome. I caught 31 shiny Ponyta, and I was getting chains of boosting experience of 4,000 experience points, and it was leveling up my Pokemon like that.
Yeah. So that's a big difference. Is instead of just battling, it kind of gives you. There's combos now. I think that's cool.
Part of why we were chaining to get all of that experience is Saturday night. booted it up. Fiance and I played 3.5 hours. We started, for those of you who know the setting of the game, started in Lavender Town, went to Celadon City, beat the rocket hideout in the casino.
No, that's
back
awesome.
to Lavender Town, did the Pokemon Tower, did the whole path from Lavender Town down to Fuchsia City, got to Fuchsia City, and I was going to finally do the thing that I bought this game for. Link it up to my Pokemon Go.
You have to wait that long to link it up with Pokemon?
You can link it, but to transfer Pokemon in the game, which I'm glad they did, because you could just break the game.
Yeah,
you could have a Dragonite in Pallet Town if you didn't.
I want a Dragonite by Pallet Town. What's the point of me playing the game all the years if I... Oh my gosh.
Because usually you have to wait when you transfer Pokemon in the old ones, in the first, like the second, third town or something.
Yeah.
When you can trade. But
So you have to wait to Fuchsia City, you go to the Go Park, and you can transfer in Pokemon.
You gotta catch them too?
You have to recatch them.
Oh,
yes,
that's so stupid.
But it's not like... From what I don't know too much about that process, because you'll find out why I didn't get to do this. We hook up... I go to try and put my phone and connect it to my Switch, and it won't connect. And I tried for maybe a half an hour just to do it. Like, try different things that I could think of off the top of my head. Couldn't get it to work. Go online and start reading that people are having problems because it uses Bluetooth connection. If any of you know the Switch's Bluetooth connections,
the Joy-Cons
it has problems with its
up.
own controllers. You're trying to connect a phone to this thing? Good luck. I finally get to this thread and this guy says, I put the Joy-Cons in the Switch.
F5.
I took the Switch out of the dock, and then I put my phone and put it into the searching mode, because Pokemon Go has like the searching mode for the Switch. I disconnected the Joy-Cons and shut them off, and put it right next to the phone, and it finally connected. And he used the Pokeball.
Sounds like you do a seance to get your Bluetooth connected. I
shut off my Joy-Con, and for some inexplicable reason, my game crashed. There was an error. It said that an error has occurred and the software will be closed. I had not saved it. And keep in mind, it's 2018, and Pokemon decides they want to change all this crap and remake this game. There's still no autosave and anything, and which I should have expected, and I did expect that when I rebooted the game, I had lost 3.5 hours of my life. Now,
that's a sick feeling.
It's a very sick feeling, and I haven't experienced it since a child because most games in the modern era
autosave,
have some form of autosave or some form of backup plan. Like, hey,
it's just like all Pokemon when you would do that.
And if you're going to remake this game and you're going to try all these new adventurous things, why not try some kind of save feature just in case this happened? Because these things do happen sometimes. Yeah. So that was really frustrating. Luckily, I have a wonderful fiance who was like, I don't care to replay all this stuff for you. So she did it, most of it for me, while I got some stuff done. And
you should probably marry her.
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
So we caught up, and but it was just so... And then again, even like last night, that happened on Saturday night. On yesterday, Sunday night, we go to start playing, and I'm having problems connecting the Joy-Con.
You had problems at the Hangout.
I had problems connecting the Pokeball. I'm having problems with all this stuff. We finally get it connected, and we're trying to do the throws, and for whatever reason, I haven't had problems before, but now I'm having problems with the motion controls, and throws are the Pokeballs are flying everywhere.
Another thing to mention is they don't tell you when you get the limited edition with that Pokeball, you can buy separately or with the limited edition. There's no instructions, which I think is so funny because Nintendo is usually very hand-holdy on like instruction manuals or like making sure everybody's like covered, but there is nothing for like.
There is a little pamphlet, but it's not. It doesn't tell you how to connect it. It doesn't tell you.
Yeah. Probably because they couldn't figure it out.
I don't know.
Most likely.
I will say, as far as a remake goes, they did a really good job. They changed some things that I thought were interesting. Spoiler alert, I guess. The bike path going down to Fuchsia City is no longer a bike path. It is called like the stroll route or something. It's basically all the trainers that are on the route have their Pokemon out with them.
But they're not on bikes?
They're not on bikes. Another key difference I've noticed is, so you can like ride Charizard, but you're like an inch above the ground when you're riding him. When you go to this and you get on Charizard, you are above everybody. So they kind of kept a similar thing. From what I can tell, you don't get a bike in this game.
But you can ride these Pokemon.
But you can ride the Pokemon.
Yeah, and that kind of made you faster.
Yes. Kind of a sucky thing I guess they didn't think about when you're playing the co-op. You can't. Your second player can't ride on the Pokemon, so you're flying past them on an Arcanine, and you get about 10 steps ahead of them, and you freeze, and they warp back to you, and so it's very like disjointed.
Oh my gosh!
So if I want to ride a Pokemon while Brittany is playing, I have to just deal with that every 10 seconds or so. I'm going to be so far ahead of her. I'm going to freeze. She's going to come twirling down out of the sky, and then I'm going to take 10 more steps, and then it's going to do. So when you're playing co-op, it kind of makes the riding Pokemon feature unusable.
Yeah.
So I went from being like a 9 out of 10 on this game, which I still haven't gone back to Fuchsia City to try the Pokemon Park. I'm scared. I'm going to save it like 5 times before I do.
Yeah.
Which, granted, we did get a little sidetracked trying to get the shiny Ponyta. But I went from like this is a 9 out of 10 to, with all the problems I've had, I'm thinking more like a 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
Just because...
That's a bummer that's all happened, but
Yeah.
it's cool that...
Can I catch Missing No in this game?
No. As far as I know.
They should have figured that one out, like as a little
Put it back
Easter
in as
egg,
like
yeah.
an Easter egg. Well,
Yeah, I promise you, I would have bought that in a heartbeat.
Yellow didn't have Missing Now.
Oh,
So let me ask
they
this
fixed it.
then. If I have no interest in Pokemon Go, so I don't have this issue, and I have no interest in buying this Pokeball, sounds like a lot of the problems you were really frustrated with I don't have to worry about.
Joy-Cons. Having problems. We had problems last night because I couldn't even get the Pokeball to
You have
connect.
problems with the Joy- Just playing regular?
Playing.
Handheld?
The motion, the ball, we were throwing it straight. They were flying all over. They weren't in sync like they
even
normally
handheld?
were. Huh?
Even handheld?
I haven't played it handheld to the extent of where... I don't know how you would throw
If you
the...
play it-
Unless you have to like fake throw your
If you play
switch
it
when you throw the
handheld,
Pokeball.
you can do it. You can do it, but motion controls stay on the whole time, so you have to keep it like completely still when you play it.
You can get a Pro Controller.
Because the motion controls cannot turn off.
Yeah, how would it... Can you even... I don't think you can play it with a Pro Controller
It
because...
has gyro in it.
You can... when it comes up to select...
Travis
the
is
very-
slowly saying that there are so many barriers to get to this game.
Which is such a Nintendo thing to do.
Yes, it is.
You have remade this game, and
Hey.
it looks great, and outside of these stupid motion controls, it plays great. And
Frick it. Go to 3DS.
So it sounds like the motion controls kind of really screwed this game over.
Pokemon Let's Know.
But everything inside, if you can get past the barrier of that, I think we're gonna have a good time. But
IGN said there was not a lot of water there, though, so apparently it's pretty good.
that's true. A lot of water, but yeah, let's. I want to talk about stuff without motion controls now. Let's talk. Let's let these two jabronis.
Jabronis.
Yeah. Or dweebronies.
How about
Talk about-
Survivors?
Yeah.
Survivors?
Yeah,
we could say
Survivors. Expert Survivors. Hatch Kings. Loop Masters.
I know where this is going.
Pallet bashers.
Sometimes Pallet Eaters.
Are these names for... Okay, so this is Dead by Daylight. Are these like names that are in the game or just people have come up with the community?
Yeah,
We're
it's
kind
a
of just
community.
riffing on
Yeah.
words.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Pallets and perks.
I
and
can tell you-
hatches
so-
and switches and generators.
This is so funny.
and
This game
doors.
is something...
It's a very high and a very low.
Yeah.
So we talked about Dead by Daylight.
It's
last
almost been
month.
like a year ago since we brought this game up.
No, we talked about it last month.
Well, last month we just started. It was just
Yeah.
like, this is our
I stand
full-
by what I said of this is the most stupid game that I've ever put a lot of time into. But I will tell you right now, it's an asymmetrical game. So there's one killer and then there's 4 survivors and you're running around and you're playing in third person as a survivor and the killer's in first person. And there's a lot of broken perks, there's a lot of broken crap in the game, but I'll be damned, it's fun, man.
We want to solve. We want to win.
It's fun. When you win and you get away, it's like, dude, I got away.
It's like Sex is 200 dopamine levels.
Yeah.
Escape is like 350.
Yeah, this is like 350 for sure,
Like,
dude. So I really like, I've been enjoying playing the game. We've been trying to rank up, and we've now gotten to the point where when we first were playing, we would hit parts and we'd be like, well, that's a toxic build. Like that killer used, they have things called, basically you have to work on these generators,
Yes.
right? So there's 5 generators on the map or whatever. There's 6 generators, and you got to complete 5 of them to get away.
Yeah.
Well, there's these hexes that killers can run. So they're perks like Call of Duty, right? So in Call of Duty, you can run all these different perks. Well, in this game, the killer and the survivors can use perks. Well, there's a killer perk called Hex Ruin. And basically what it does is it spawns in the whole map one little totem with a skull with fire underneath it. And as long as that thing is existing on the map, you cannot basically work on generators. Anytime you work on a generator...
That's a new addition.
It damages...
Actually, it's
no.
not. It's been the game the whole time.
We've been getting better, so we're getting grouped with better killers who have that perk.
Oh.
Yeah, so Dead by Daylight has a really cool... Honestly, it's a cool way to keep you invested in the game. We thought we were having a ton of fun because we were playing against a bunch of baby killers. So either we killed them...
But then we ranked up, and
we
now,
got good.
Now we're going against people who are using stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you got to hunt and find this little thing and take this little tiki thing apart before you can really start making progress.
So, well, here's
So
where...
we were very frustrated for a while. We were salting
we just
a
didn't want
lot.
to play. Yeah,
Now
we were,
you've figured out.
I was calling some...
Well,
I was
now
calling some
we're coming up with a strategy. We think we've got it. We realize that what the Hex does is while you're working on the generator, there's these skill checks.
Yeah.
So basically a circle pops up every now and then. There's an audio cue, and there's a quick time basically event. And there's a field in which you have to hit it, and it'll be a good skill check. And then there's a little sliver where you have to hit it for it to be great. What the Hex Ruin does is if you hit it in the good, it damages the generator.
5%.
But if you hit it in the great, it keeps going faster. So you have to just really hit it really perfectly.
Yeah.
So we've been learning also is one of the things you can do is you can work on a generator and walk away and then work on it again and keep getting on and off of it. It's called gen tapping. And if you do
I
that,
knew the terms were
if
coming
you
up.
do that,
Gen tap.
if you get off and on it enough, you'll get to where it won't ever trigger a skill check and you can get past the whole Hex Ruin. It takes longer. So we're getting a strategy together. But that's where we're at with the game is we're starting to get into trying to beat some of the higher level people.
And apparently it's all about perk builds. I mean, that's ultimately it's what it becomes.
Yeah.
So something I've learned, I've been watching a lot of videos about it that I think is super awesome.
What's another term? Gen tapping. What's another?
Gen rushing.
Gen rushing.
We gen rushed Alex hard last night.
Gen rushing.
Ah.
Gen rushing is where one person is kind of distracting the killer, whether they're getting chased or they're down and the killer's trying to deal with them.
Yeah.
And everybody else just keeps working. And then they knock stuff out while that person wastes their time.
Okay.
So last night we were playing and Alex was the doctor, and he was chasing me down, but he couldn't hit me because I kept running like 8
He was
figure
jumping over
patterns.
pallets and jumping through windows.
So next you notice you hear pop, pop, pop.
We
And
all
we only
kept
have to get
working.
5 gens done. They all 3 were on a separate gen, and they popped them at the same time. Now Alex is down 3 gens.
He was up 5 and now he's down to 2.
Oh, okay.
and he hasn't hit anybody yet.
Is this an esport yet?
No,
Actually,
it's-
there's a tournament though. They hosted.
Is there really?
They hosted Dead by Daylight tournament. It's but it's like super. Like it's not an esport. It's like just
No.
a super.
This
It's in
game
somebody's basement.
is low key crap, but it's also good. Like it, I won't say it's crap because a lot of people play it. And
I don't
we
think
play
it doesn't run bad. I think the biggest
I
issue.
think it is crap.
It's unbalanced.
but it's fun crap.
It's unbalanced.
Yeah.
It's completely unbalanced.
To the point where I'm like, you literally have like a 25% chance. You literally have a 25% chance of winning. Then you have like a 5% chance of like actually winning.
Yeah.
Because like,
But that's when your dopamine levels kick up.
when you win, and we're getting to where
definitely
we
need
used
it.
to maybe win one game a night,
Yeah.
where we consider a win where everybody gets away.
yeah.
If only one person gets away, it's not really a win, right? But we used to get, maybe if we were lucky, we'd all get away in a night. Sometimes we wouldn't get that.
No.
Now we begin like 3, 4, 5 wins a night, and
Nice.
so we're getting better at it.
We definitely hit the wall.
I
Yeah.
think you guys are the best Dead by Daylight players in the world.
Well,
But-
rumor has it you might be pretty good yourself.
Yeah, we'll see.
Did you ever play the game?
Yeah, I did. I did play a couple times.
It was
I
awesome.
screamed the whole time.
Yeah, I screamed so much playing that game.
Well,
I
he
scream
screams
when we're
other
getting
things too, but
They
more.
live above me. I can tell when they're winning.
I'm just. Oh my gosh! I promise you, I say things that I don't say in normal life.
I heard Jacob calls people jackwagons, whatever that
he
means.
calls him Jackwagon.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's a competitive.
Jen, you'll
edge.
get or Jen, Jacob, you'll get in the chat and start talking trash at people.
I'm
calling them-
toxic.
He's toxic. He's
Hey,
borderline toxic.
This is the guy that's causing all the issues in the online community.
I am legitimately. We played private mode for the first time in forever, and all I ever want to do is I want to kill because I love being the killer.
Yep.
And they all said like, don't be super
When
toxic.
you play in a private room, you can equip any perk.
And
Doesn't have
the
to
whole
be stuff
game.
you can equip the most high level stuff. This freaking dude equips like Hex Ruin. He equips these things where you can see us all the time. He equips all this. He equips this thing where you can kill us in one hit and all this stuff. And no shame, dude.
Hey,
no shame.
my favorite moment is because I was playing this girl that, and after this we can move on because this is the only game I really played much. But there's this character they just released called the Spirit. The Spirit sucks. Except the only thing she has this thing called Phase Walk, where she turns invisible and she can walk across the whole map, and you can't see any of the survivors, but they can't see you either. So what I do is I get really close to a generator, and then I phase walk and I walk around the generator until I bump into somebody, and I just pop up and pick them up.
Yeah.
Alex screamed so loud because I literally just popped up right behind him and grabbed him. And it's just like, it's a jump scare.
Yeah,
You're like, next thing you know, you're being hoisted on, and there's like a loud noise and stuff. But
yeah.
I felt really good. Then I felt the salt.
It is the most I've played a multiplayer game in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I just told Alex the other day, I was like, I have 75 hours in this game.
Sounds like you both are having fun with games that are frustrating you.
You guys play on PC?
Yeah.
Is it cross like to where I could? Play
You can run wine.
You can run it on wine.
Okay.
You have wine set up now, don't you?
Halfway.
You can build a PC.
Remember, we tried to play.
You could, you could build a PC.
We'll get there. I'm trying to save it for a wedding.
No.
So I want to talk about games. I feel like this game has no problems. Spyro. Reignited Trilogy.
I'm gonna let you talk. But I want to have like just.
I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had the best album of the year.
Beyonce?
No problems?
No problems.
Not the giant download.
Okay.
It's an old
That
game.
is the one big, huge, giant, enormous.
I mean, it literally took me forever to get that game going.
I beat the first Spyro. There's 3. Maybe I'll talk the other one. But Spyro 1, just as good as I remember it. I talked in the Hangouts. I did not know, because I didn't follow with it. They actually have a switch you can turn on the original sounds. They have the reignited, sounds from the audio and the music, and you can switch it back. So I was doing that a couple times. So good. 100%ed that. And I actually watched an interview with the developers, Toys for Bob, and they talked through some stuff. But one thing they mentioned was how is this, the reaction with, do you have kids now? Did they play with it? I was like, yeah, I actually am playing with my daughter and stuff. And he was like, one thing I noticed, and this is the first thing I noticed when I was playing this, that games now are extremely complex. They start to build up all these stuff, and it's like, why do I need Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for example? Stuff that's where why am I balancing all these systems? This just needs to be a simple thing. Spyro is so simplistic. Enemies can take one hit to kill them. There's different you have to charge them or flame them. That's it. It's so
run,
simplistic
flame, jump.
that I am loving it because I'm bouncing back and forth between a not simple game, Red Dead, which has a lot of little systems and little things you can play around with. So when I get too deep in that, I jump over and I'm playing Spyro. Love it. Awesome graphics look great. Having a good time with that.
I only think you to beat Spyro 1.
I 100%ed it. 7 hours. 100%ed it.
No, that's not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad.
So if you didn't want to do that, very short game.
I got the game, and I didn't put it on my list because I literally probably only put 20 minutes into it. Booted it up, and I noticed I had a save file.
You already had a save file?
Yeah. And it was 7% done. I was past the first 2 worlds, the first world. And I was
On what?
On Spyro 1.
But how?
Was this because you had it?
I didn't play the
Did you play a demo or something?
No, I don't think there was a demo.
But you're already 7% through?
Yeah, so I was I promise you, I sat there, I was
I think you played when you were too sleepy and you just forget.
no, because I wait for the
Is this
download to happen.
When I drink your Fanta,
Did somebody else play your PS4?
No, because I didn't I literally...
Your brother didn't play it?
No, because we Ooh, you know what?
Oh!
Brother Gate.
I smell a
Brothergate.
skunk in the
Hey.
cellar on that one.
I'll fight him, but I
We'll fix it in post. There'll be a big picture of his brother if he played it.
Hey,
It'll be a picture of his brother.
Yeah.
Shocked that we
I promise you though, I was I flipped out from him. I was I know I didn't play this.
Well, okay, let's go through the possibilities. Okay,
Spyro the brother.
Well, possibility number 1: they uploaded a save file to you, your PS4. Okay, not very likely.
Not very
Possibility
unlikely.
number 2: Ghost played it. Still probably not very likely.
You know what I was waiting for?
Option number 3: you played it and you forgot. Or option number 4: your brother played it.
I would probably say
Option number 5, GameStop's involved.
GameStop.
Every
You know what?
podcast, GameStop screws you over.
I did have a funny moment with that. So
Did you get
Josh,
screwed again by GameStop?
I'm more mad at my brother now because he screwed me, but it involves GameStop. You guys know what Funkos are, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Funkos are stupid.
Yeah.
But sometimes every once in a while they pull up this really cool looking Funko
Every now and then there's a cool.
like a 16-inch Pikachu
Yeah. I
that
did see
looks
that.
really awesome. GameStop had 2 of them.
Yeah.
$30 a piece.
Oh.
I told Josh, I want one.
Yeah.
Josh okay, deal. He buys it from GameStop. And I'm oh, awesome. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get it. And then a couple weeks passed by because I forgot to ask him for it, and I haven't seen him in a while. And he's like, "Oh, no lie, I forgot. I said I'll give that to you." And I'm like, "Okay, where is it?" He's like, "I traded it in at GameStop."
So he bought it for $30.
He
How
bought it
much
for
did they-
30 and then saw it.
Well, I
and
gave
was
him $30 for it. So then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why?" And he's like, "They gave me like $13 for it."
Oh my god!
And I'm like, "Josh, those are rare." And he's like,
Shouts out, Josh.
he literally
Best
said,
brother.
he's like, "I thought I bought 2 on accident." I was like, I hate
How
you.
much time passed from him buying it to trading it in?
2 weeks.
Yeah, it couldn't have been that long. That just came out.
I was like, I wanted a Pikachu. That's all I
He
wanted.
definitely played your Spyro.
Yeah,
I'm calling it right now.
I think
Definitely.
that's too.
I hope GameStop burns in hell. Like, it's the worst thing ever.
I think you might get your wish here.
How often do they screw you over?
Well, last month. I don't want to talk about GameStop right now. I do something GameStop related at least once a
My
month.
favorite
Once a
story-
month, he gets in. I think he walks right into his own mess.
My
but,
favorite story of
this one was-
Jacob at GameStop is Majora's Mask 3DS, and I order it, and Jacob says, "I'm paying for the expedited shipping." What was it, like $20?
Oh my! Those
He
freaking
pays
balls.
like $20 extra, and I said, "Jacob, I ordered a Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds 3DS, and I paid for the standard shipping, and it arrives on launch day. I promise you, it arrives on launch day." So he doesn't listen to me. He pays the expedited shipping. We get home from work. We were working the same job, and we were roommates. Both of us have our 3DSs sitting on the front porch. So Jacob goes upstairs, proceeds to call GameStop's customer service and say, "I want my money back." And the guy's like, "Why? You got your thing on launch day. That's what you paid for." And he said, "But my roommate didn't pay for it, and he got it on launch day." And he's like, "So?"
Oh, man.
I was ticked.
Jacob
I was like,
argued with this guy for
I remember
somewhere
that.
between 30 and 45 minutes.
I sat there. I had a valiant argument. I was like, "Look," I'm like, if my roommate didn't order this and I just showed up, I wouldn't have said anything. But I know he did not pay expedite shipping like I did. So why give that my option? Why is that an option? And he's like, "Well, sir, you clicked on it." I don't care if I clicked on it. Why give me that option? So I sat there. I was like, "It's just $25." At that point, I became begging. I was like, "Just give it back." I didn't have any money. I was just like, "Just give it back." Like, or what else? I forget what else I said. I said some crazy things.
You said some
you did
really crazy
Yeah, there was
stuff.
some crazy stuff.
I wanted to speak to his manager. He wouldn't. He's like, "Sir, I can't escalate this. This is a pretty cut and paste kind of situation."
Yeah.
Ah,
You paid for a service and you got it. And he was like, "Well, my roommate didn't pay for the service and he got it."
so why do you pay for something? I'm serious.
I told you not to do it.
I don't give a crap.
I will say that is a weird situation that they do offer that if they know that everyone's going to get that on release day that orders,
I guess-
prior to
In a
certain
sense,
point.
didn't that guy tell you pretty much you paid for the
I
guarantee?
think their thought is anybody who signs up for $25 shipping don't need the $25.
The guy ended up telling Jacob, if I'm not mistaken, that he paid for the guarantee. Mine wasn't guaranteed to arrive there. It could have been late. I
Yeah.
don't
don't give a crap. There's a guarantee.
All right, so GameStop and Jacob. Tune in. We need to have. This is a new segment, like GameStop and Jacob. We'll figure something out. It's an ongoing thing.
I think I have my Smash Brothers game.
At this
I have
point.
2 copies of Smash Brothers pre-ordered right
The
now.
collector's edition?
And then the
you have
regular-
one through Amazon and one
Just
through...
keep
GameStop
Just
still.
keep the regular, and
Because
I'll
you
get
have
that
the
one.
collector's
I'll pay
edition
for
through
it.
Amazon,
Yes, but I don't think I canceled the collector's edition through GameStop either.
too. So you have 2 collector's editions and a standard copy of that game coming.
I'll buy the
can't-
standard off you. $17.
Shut up.
Did you get Expedia?
Josh is going to trade in your collector's edition for a penny.
I'll drop kick him in oblivion.
All right. I also returned to a game and beat it. Me and my wife finished up,
Congratulations. The way you were like, and beat it.
and I beat it. Thank you. Please clap. Detroit: Become Human. I finished it. I can give my final thoughts before I lay it to rest. Very fun. Very freaking fun.
Mm-hmm.
There are slow moments in that. It does kind of drag. There seems like there's not a lot coming on.
I was invested heavily, so
but they start to build the character and stuff, and by the end of it, man, that ending and stuff, I was just like, man, there's some like legit cool stuff they pull with that ending. Like,
there's a lot you can do from it too.
yeah, there's a lot of different choices. I will say, started going pretty late, and me and my wife was up the previous night, late and stuff. Black Friday shopping, all that stuff was going on.
Mm.
And I was so tired at the very end. There is a choice, without spoiling it, because there's different characters you can play.
Yeah.
There is a choice right at the end that says die, stop and die, or continue living. Like, continue moving on with this character or whatever. That's the last choice with this character. I'm so tired, I immediately, when it popped up, for some reason, I just didn't, thought I was hitting the right button, and I hit stop and die. And my wife's like, no, we're done. Like, that's it. That was the end. That was the choice. And, like, the ending is like, you just stop and die with that character. So that was one of my characters. Endings was the worst that you could get, possibly. But why would they even have that as a choice? You know what I mean? Like,
maybe you just give up on life sometimes.
It wasn't even a thing of, like, you're choosing between these characters and these choices.
Was it?
It literally was like, do you just want to stop?
Did it?
You've played for 15 hours. What if you just stop? And they
Did it involve the character that's the two people?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why.
Could you go back and undo it?
So you have an option to replay scenes, which is like, but you have to go through the whole scene again.
Yes.
So that's the part where I'm like, maybe they're better off dead. Like,
but very fun. I think in the other ones I enjoy the corniness level of these games. This one legit
wasn't that corny?
Legit one, yeah. There's some legit cool stuff they pull. So there's a cool mix of that. And,
I did love. How
I
you
recommend it highly in a group.
I love how you brought up the magazines.
Yes, the magazines are corny to
That's like their corniness right there.
Oh my gosh, it's so corny.
It was.
But,
I told Travis, I was like, I played this, and then like I got really sucked in, and I just no-lifed it real quick. Like I played Life is Strange.
Yeah.
To the point where I got so drained emotionally because I just gave this game my all, and I loved it.
There's some cool settings in this.
Yeah.
Places you go where it's like I've never seen in a game before. Like awesome settings. So.
Well, also just talk on just visually, it's.
I think it's on sale for 20 something.
It's outstanding. If you have not played this, I mean, I know for you two, you guys having girlfriends, I mean, that's a good game to sit down and play.
It's a good group game. But yeah, it plays like a movie. Awesome graphics.
I have it. If you guys ever want to borrow it,
I actually might take you up on that.
But Detroit Become Human.
Yeah.
I give that a rad. I had a great time.
Good time.
But that's all I played for this
Speaking of Detroit Become Human, because I was thinking about picking that up for Cyber Monday. I have like this shelving system in my living room where I have all my games.
Yeah.
And I don't have room on my one shelf for PS4 anymore. It's about to spill down. And I own so many boxes. I think I own more boxes games for PS4 than any other console I've ever owned. Because normally I'll have.
I've noticed it's been growing too. And like the best part's like, I'm like,
I wonder how long
half of them are shrink wrapped.
I was like, I wonder how long this one's gonna be shrink wrapped.
Yeah, some of them are still shrink wrapped. I've loaned a couple of them out to people. And
I've
stuff
got
that I
2 or
haven't
3
even
shrink wrapped PS4 games. Yeah.
I'm telling you guys right now, this is the best library.
Oh, it's one of the best
for a console ever.
Oh, for
Exclusive
sure.
library.
I was counting the other day. I've surpassed my PS3 library.
And I used to think PS3 might be my favorite, but I think that the PS4's library is the best library ever.
Because the Xbox 360 early on was way better than the PS3, but
it had great stuff like Mass Effect exclusive. Mass Effect was exclusive. Oblivion was. BioShock was, but then all those games ended up coming to other consoles and stuff. So
God, Mass Effect, I missed that game.
And the 360's later part of the generation.
Really
anyway, so speaking of PS4 exclusives, I've picked back up God of War.
Praise God.
So things I like. We were talking about some of just the set pieces and stuff are really cool. Graphics are amazing. It's a beautiful game. I'm playing it on that 4K TV we've got now. Which is awesome. It runs really at 60 frames, so it's really smooth. It's not like bad frame rate, which after playing Bloodborne, it's like night and day. Just about.
Yeah, smooth.
Because even Bloodborne on the Pro ran really hitchy. So
still?
Yeah, so that they never really, that's a whole other story. They never really did a Pro patch for that. So all those things are really good. And everything's presented really well. I love the camera style, how it's kind of all very intimate. It reminds me of some of like Metal Gear Solid 5 shots, how they'd be long one-shot type things. So that's all great. Things I don't like. I could not be bothered to care less about the story in this game. I don't know what's going on. They're talking about trees of Jotunheim, and I almost fell asleep yesterday. I went in some portal area, and they were explaining all this stuff, and this witch is dropping all this exposition on me, and I'm like, dude, I can't keep my eyes open. So I like the core, like you're this dad with his son on this journey, but everything is just played so like. I wanted them to kind of subvert my expectation of that. Maybe they will, but it is played so on the nose of like, you'll see this thing and the boy's like, we should help them. And then he's like, no, we don't have time to help them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, in hour 2, like, okay, I'm at hour 15 and that exact interaction has happened like a dozen times. Like anytime anything happens, we should go do this. And no, we don't have time. And it's like, okay, are we ever going to go like somewhere with this? Like, I don't know. Maybe it does in the story, but I'm like 20 hours in and I just feel like it's very straightforward.
I think I know where you're at.
The other issue that I'm having is this is the most unsatisfying upgrade system I've ever put time into. You get all this like hack silver and experience and stuff, and every 10 seconds I'm getting a new perk, and I don't even have time to like understand them and know how to plug them all in.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm an old man.
That.
Like there are so many perks, there are so many
button combinations.
There's so many buttons. There's so many moves. I'm constantly getting more, and I just use the same 2 or 3. And because you have to invest in them to level them up, and I don't even know like with some of them if I like them enough to level them up.
I did that,
and
I get the same too.
I go to the blacksmith to work on something, and it's like I saved up 64,000 hack silver, and I was like, okay, I could buy some really good stuff with this. And like the only things I can build are like it'll make my defense +3, but it'll make my luck -5. Yeah. And it's like this isn't satisfying. I've just turned level 4, and I'm 20 hours in. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's not balanced in a way that satisfies me. As someone who plays like Destiny and Warframe and some of these different games, even The Witcher, where I felt like I was always getting better equipment, I could really feel the progression. Yeah. I am not feeling any progression with Kratos as far as leveling him up or feeling like I'm building up more. I feel like I'm more or less doing the same things I was. Yeah. So, all that being said, it's really well polished. It's not bad. The level up system isn't bad. Yeah. It just isn't engaging. Mm-hmm. The story isn't bad, it's just not engaging me. So the presentation and stuff and the tight controls, they're nice, and it's well made. I don't feel like I'm wasting my time on things. I'm enjoying exploring a little bit. I'm at the part where it just opened up, and I have a thing I can go do, but there's a point where like the water kind of lowers and you can do more things. Yeah. So I spent about 5 hours going all around this big lake and exploring, and I've enjoyed that. But I will say I'm just kind of liking it. I'm not loving it. So I'm looking forward to my time kind of wrapping up with it, and I'm probably only halfway through the story. So
you gotta definitely the story. If I had to like give you like a graph, it'd probably go like this. Tamper out.
I'm definitely
on but no, and then it like kind of trickles down because I know what you're. I know.
I'm at a plateau, maybe a decline.
So, right but there's a part in this game, and you've beat this game. Yeah. That it gets a second wind.
It does. It does slump.
It's all honestly
because that first boss fight had my expectations for this game through the roof. With this, we've all played the beginning with the Stranger, right?
I'm at the same part as
the stuff with the Stranger and that game hits like the very beginning.
And that's my favorite.
And I was like,
about
this is unbelievable, and it has not had a moment like that in 10 hours.
Yeah, I would say keep playing.
Yeah.
I think that is, to me, the highlight of playing this game, which a lot of people that have played the other God of Wars, that's what I said before when we talked about this, are used to it, the big set pieces and the big monsters and stuff you see. But to me, with that on 4K and stuff, I don't think you should pass that up. Those were my favorite parts, was the set pieces and stuff, and I think you're on to more stuff like that coming up.
What do you think about the combat?
So, it's weird. I echo what you said on one of our previous podcasts, where I liked it in March, and then I didn't play the game for a few months, and I came back, and it took me a minute.
You lose your head. You don't know what
And I've been playing Bloodborne a lot, so I'm used to rolling through attacks and stuff, and in this game you don't really have iframes like you do in Bloodborne, to where if you try to roll when a big troll's swinging at you, that troll's going to hit you every time. You have to really keep your distance and throw your axe, and
shields.
I'm learning how to parry a little bit better. It's not my favorite combat system, but I'd say it's very solid, and I do like going fists and like building up the stun meter.
The diversity.
I like building up the stun meter. It's good combat, but I don't know that it's my favorite.
My hope,
because I typically don't like games where I have to memorize a ton of different button combinations, and with this, you really do.
Yeah, you got a ton to where I didn't bother with it.
Yeah.
Well, I never felt like I had to memorize them. I just felt like I always knew that I could switch between my axe and my fists.
Yes. Well, what I wish was, I feel like there's one too many upgradable things. So like there's these perks, right, where you can equip it and it'll be like hold L1 and then press R1 or R2 and it'll be these different abilities.
Yeah.
I would switch between them more if you didn't have to level up those abilities. Because you have these abilities, I've got like 12 of them, and I can't even understand what they all do. And then that coupled with, I've got some that are all the way upgraded, and then if I switch the other ones, my stats lower in a way that's like, well, I'm not going to go backwards. You're de-incentivized from using things. And I will say, though, I really like when you come up on the puzzles where you have to kill 3 or destroy 3 of these different things.
Yeah.
Or you got to like kind of scavenge hunt.
The
pacing of the puzzles and stuff has been really good.
There's one freaking puzzle in that game that I literally was stuck on it. I had to put the controller down and walk away.
Yeah.
There's one of them, and you're going to find it, and you're better at video games than me.
I can't remember what we were
I could also go for some more enemy variety. I'm getting a little bit of Breath of the Wild feeling of, oh, it's a Draugr. It's a fire Draugr. It's a nice Draugr.
Yeah.
It's a possessed Draugr. It's a Draugr with a bow. Like, I opened up the bestiary. So the bestiary in The Witcher, you open it up, and it's like exhaustive, and there's so many different kind of creatures. And this is not The Witcher, I understand that. But I opened up the bestiary in this game, and it's literally like 18 variations of the same thing. And then Revenant, 10 different variations of the Revenant. Yeah. And so
I hate those Revenants.
I'm starting to really get where, like, okay, I know how to fight these guys. Like, give me something else. I found a wolf recently, so that was cool.
I would
a werewolf type thing. So
just keep playing, man. I'm telling you.
Here's the thing: if they improve it, awesome. It was pacing issues. If they don't, that's even worse. So I'm hoping it's a pacing thing, and I'm doing side stuff, so maybe that's part of it.
I never did any of the side stuff, so I honestly I can see where. Because I ain't gonna lie, I looked at it and I was like, that's gonna take too much time. I just want to get through the story.
I'm eventually going to just. I think I'm at around the same point you are. Eventually, I'm just going to power through.
Yeah,
yes, because I mostly only cared about the story in this game. I didn't do any side things.
I didn't do side quests. What I did was if you're on the lake, you can look out and you see these things hanging, and when you grab them, they give you like +2 strength, +2 whatever. So I just literally did a circle around the lake, picking up gold and picking up those things. But every time you do that, like there's a little thing over here with like some little puzzles or whatever. So I've been enjoying that, just kind of going around and doing that. But as I said before, it's a like thing, not a love thing. So maybe as I get back into the story, I honestly needed a break from the story. Because that area where you go and you go to try to get the light, there's an area with these elves. Yeah. That thing had me about to fall asleep. So I was like, if this is the story, I'm going to go do side stuff. Because I was not into it.
The game's broken up, in my opinion, 4 parts. And I'm going to guess you're halfway through 1.5.
Okay, that sounds about right. I will say, I looked up the chapter list because I was like, am I like halfway? Where am I at? And I'm like a third, and I was like, man, I need these story missions to really pick it up and get more engaging.
You're going to get a certain part where you're going to be like, oh, this is kind of cool, and then you're going to get the second wind. And I'm telling you, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah. I cannot fault the game. It is very well designed. It's a great addition to the PlayStation exclusive. If you're into lore, and if you're into like, what do you call it?
Norse mythology.
If you're into mythology of any kind, like my brother is huge into Greek mythology. He likes Norse mythology. If you're into Skyrim and all these different gods and Draugrs, if you're into that thing, definitely get this game. Mm-hmm. But for me, when they start talking about Jotunheim, and I feel like I'm watching Thor, and I don't even like that movie that much. I watched Thor 1 earlier this year, and I about fell asleep. And I feel like I'm playing Thor. So, anyway.
What else have you played?
So I played God of War. So another thing that I did for Thanksgiving was I brought my brother and my sister over to my house for Black Friday. So we got together. We wanted to get together and hang out, and we decided to play all the way through Halo 1 in one day. Nice. So we got together, we co-opted, and we would like to eventually play through the entire series together. So a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, we played the first couple missions of Halo 1. So then our idea was, well, we got 6 missions left. We could probably beat that thing in one day. So we played on Heroic, and we played all the way through the game. And it was cool for me to really sit down and play that whole campaign. Mm-hmm. I haven't played probably all of Halo 1 since I was a kid.
Yeah,
really a long time. And it was interesting because the first 4 or 5 levels of that game are so iconic. And then I was reading like later levels like 2 betrayals. And we were joking while we were playing it. And I was like, can't wait till we get to 2 betrayals. I have no idea what that is. Yeah. Like I was asking them, I was like, do you remember what 2 betrayals is? They're like, no. So it was a running joke our whole playthrough of, well, we got to get to 2 betrayals because I don't know what it is. And guess what 2 betrayals is? So there's a level called Assault on the Control Room. Yeah. You know that level with the snow, and you run all the way through the Halo Fortress, and you activate the Halo Control Room?
No.
So
I forgot.
So 2 Betrayals starts you where you end Assault on the Control Room, and you do the entire level in reverse.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
And
That's why it's called 2 Betrayals.
And then
It's
there's a level
thinking you're
called
getting another
Keys that is a little bit different, but it's basically Truth and Reconciliation, which is the map earlier that you go through the Covenant ship. You go through the Covenant ship in reverse. So
Should've
the
been called
back,
Third Betrayal.
the back end, and then the last mission, the mall, is where you go back through the Pillar of Autumn, but in reverse, and you do different stuff. So the back half of Halo's campaign is a remixed version of the first game, and it actually gave me Destiny vibes. Because Destiny, we always joke is like Destiny is you just run through the same missions over and over, and they're slightly different. I was actually blown away because I was sitting here playing this with my brother and my sister, and we're killing all these hordes of Flood, and we're going back through this same mission in reverse, and Cortana's saying, stand at this thing while I deactivate this thing, and we're sitting here, and I'm like, this is Destiny. They've actually been doing this for a long time. Like, and I don't know.
They took the worst parts of Halo and they made a game on it. It's called Destiny.
It gave me a different appreciation, actually, of Destiny also, but, anyway, so I will say this. Halo, this solidified this for me. My best memories of Halo 1 are playing with my brother and sister and playing those games co-op. That is where that game excels.
Yeah.
That game has great feel. It's great to play. The story is nothing. It is literally non-existent. What makes the story of Halo cool is not the story, it's the world. It's just like exploring this big mysterious ring, this dark like architecture that you don't really know. They don't fill in all the blanks for you. But that game, you play that game for the fun feel and to play with your brother or your sister or your friend and play through it. So I had a blast with it, but it was kind of interesting revisiting that game and really going through it because it helped me see that I don't think that Bungie's fallen off the cliff. They've fallen off the cliff with some of the different things like the monetization stuff and some of that stuff. But honestly, the humor, Cortana's cracking jokes the same way they do, and we just didn't notice it back then because it wasn't quite. It's not as bad. There's nothing as bad as Cade, but like the way like all the DNA is there. If you go back and play Halo after you played a bunch of Destiny, you're like, oh, like this is very much still the same kind of thing. So
I think it also might show that gameplay is still king, because if you can nail your gameplay, Metal Gear Solid 5, what happened to that freaking story?
Yeah,
that thing kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah,
gameplay's so solid. Don't even talk about it. Like I don't even. That does not even come up in most of the conversations.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. So I really enjoyed. We played through Halo. It was a great experience to play through that whole thing in a day. I really enjoyed that, and so we'll be playing Halo 2 here sometime soon. Cool. I'm looking forward to playing the whole series.
What they think of the graphics switch? Because I think we talked about that last time. Or maybe Hangout, I forget what we talked about.
Yeah, so if you guys don't remember, you can press a button on that Master Chief Collection to switch between new graphics and old graphics. So
what they think?
So I switched it, and they had a almost like vomit reaction. They were like, "You can't do that," like because they were like, "This looks." They were like, "This looks so different," and they were really appalled by stuff. My brother kind of defended it more because he's into art design. So and he's also into more other Halo games than I am. So I played Halo 1, 2, and 3, and I was out. So he played ODST, he played Reach, and he actually offered some interesting insight I didn't know about.
Yeah.
But my brother kind of defended it. He was like, I don't like it. He's like, but they're doing their own spin on it. He's like, and there's nothing wrong with that. If artists want to not do the same thing that they've always done, they're allowed to do that. But one of the things he told me that I didn't know was Halo Reach had a really different art style than Halo 1, 2, and 3. And Reach was made by Bungie.
Yeah.
And Reach takes place right before Halo 1.
Yeah.
So the grunts and stuff in Halo Reach, and even the Forerunner architecture in Halo Reach, I guess has a very different look than the original Halo trilogy. And he told me the Master Chief Collection and the Halo 1 Anniversary, the artist tried to make the art style match Reach so that Halo 1 would be better to play right after Reach.
Oh.
And then it even...
Is Reach on the Master Chief Collection?
No, it's not.
Then who's playing it?
So that... but number 2, it really was like... That's like going back and messing with A New Hope to make it fit Rogue One.
Yeah.
Like, no, Rogue One needs to fit A New Hope.
It's not worth
Don't
it.
make A New Hope fit Rogue One.
Yeah.
So to me, that... But I thought that was interesting because I was always like, where did they even... some of the screenshots where we were looking at, I was like, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
And then I went back and looked, and it actually does look like Reach stuff. But that just makes me wonder even more, what the heck were they doing on Reach? Like, why did they make it look so weird?
Yeah.
And why did...
But what's weird is I don't remember Reach being too different. I don't know. It didn't really strike
I don't know.
me.
That's what I was told.
I loved Reach.
That's
They
what I
slapped
was
the word
told.
Halo on it.
So Halo, Good game.
Nice.
Halo, good game. Confirmed. Anything else?
I also downloaded Warframe on my Switch. So it's a solid port. It's really cool. When you make it on your Switch, if you have a PC account, you can migrate it over. But
cool.
I didn't do that.
It looks fresh.
Yeah, I just started fresh. I wish, here would be perfect scenario, figure out cross progression. Okay, we've got crossplay on some games. We don't have it on Warframe. I want cross progression.
What's that mean?
I want it to be to where I can pick up Warframe on my Switch and play on my account, and then put it down, and then get on my computer and play on my account.
That you know,
I want it to be one account.
You know who's going to do that? Sony, because they're killing the crossplay right now.
So I think you can do that on Fortnite. You can play on your Switch and your PC, same account.
Yep.
I really want that because right now I've got like a pretty far account in PC and then my new account on Switch, and it's cool to have two different accounts, but it's not as cool as having one account because I can play on my PC
coolest.
or I can play in my bed and it's the same account. So, hey, I like your port. It runs really shockingly well. Who is this team? Play Dead? I don't know who they are.
I don't know.
No, well, it's made by DE, whatever their name is, but
Dead by Daylight.
no, but there's a Panic Button who does all these Switch ports.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that ported Doom to the Switch.
Oh.
They also ported Warframe to the Switch. These guys are like ninjas, man. Like
They
they're
are.
able to port things to the Switch and make them work really well. But
Refresh
if
all
you've
those
got a
files.
Switch, check out Warframe. It's free and it's fun.
Thank you, Play Dead, for all that you do.
Panic Button. I don't know who Playdead is.
I don't know either.
If you're in the
Play
chat,
Dead, I thought that came in my head. That is some indie developer. I think they make Inside.
yeah,
Inside
okay.
just came out.
No, I thought that was Undead Labs.
Play
No,
Dead,
you're
Undead
right.
Labs, Dead by Daylight.
What's
They're all the
Undead
same.
Labs?
Tomato.
Mm.
But you know what?
I can't keep up with all this
Games
crap.
have gone crazy. One game that continues to... You know what this game is? If you're snowboarding down a mountain and you're having a good time, and it's freaking cool, and then it kind of goes over this hill, and you hit rocks, and you just keep spiraling and literally turn into a big snowball of just rocks and pain. Final Fantasy 15 has hit that point. It is coming to the end of the mountain, and it's about to hit a house and just demolish it. And that is the legacy of itself. So the news came out that
Can't believe this.
the director of the game, Tabata, I forgot his first name, but
Wasn't he also working on other stuff?
he's working on Final Fantasy 7 remake and Kingdom Hearts 3. So he's just juggling.
Was he directing that game?
I cannot confirm. I don't put words on my mouth, but I know he's heavily involved. If not, but yeah. So they announced, they came out of nowhere, kind of, and said, or they did like a special. It was weird. They did a special like thing. They said, "Hey, we're doing a special stream." And they announced it on the stream. He like announced it on stream, and it's like that's.
I remember it was like, "Hey, big stream."
Yeah, big stream. It's like the stream is, you ain't getting these DLCs. So I had complained about that they keep plugging the story with these DLCs that should have been there from the beginning. Like there was a lot of like these holes in the game. I defended Final Fantasy 15 because I loved the atmosphere. It's guys. It's this big bro trip. I still love it for that. But then it was like a gnat flying around my head. Like, here's a DLC. Oh, we're gonna add this. Oh, we've patched this in. It's like, leave me alone. Like, you fricked this up, and it's pissing me off. So, 3 of the 4 remaining DLCs are canceled. They have one that they're going to like put out. One of these would have probably filled in a character's story. Luna Frey, the girl, whatever, had basically next to 0 in that game.
Oh,
Like,
they never
explaining
got
stuff.
into her.
They never.
They were going to.
To the point where it's like it was sad. Like I was just like, man.
They said they mentioned her
really
name
not-
and that was
And
it.
they really hyped that up in the little anime we
and,
watched.
And there's nothing with her. And they had a DLC about her story, and I think that's the one. That's one of the 3 that's canceled. So. Yeah, that thing's donezo. Good riddance. I don't know. I still feel like
that game came out in 2015.
2016.
But
is
even
this game still worth me playing, or should I just keep it in the?
I think if you can get you already have it. I would say if you can get this game on sale, I think it is. Just don't worry about the DLC and go in it knowing, hey, you're gonna play something you've never played, where you're gonna feel like you're with friends on a road trip.
More or less incomplete than Metal Gear Solid 5.
less complete. I want to say.
Whoa! Because at least there's an ending to the main
Phantom
story
Pain,
of Phantom Pain.
At least
It's chapter 2 that goes off the rails.
you can kind of see behind the curtain. And go, oh, they were kind of doing stuff there. Final Fantasy 15, there is like whole parts of the amusement park ride that they did not finish. Where like, there's whole attractions, and there's no roller coaster. There's no guy manning the ship.
I had a good time with that game. I just almost get like PT feels of like this could have been.
Oh, what could have
so
been would have been
great.
beautiful. Yeah,
It could have been.
Is that part of just this generation of these games are so expensive?
Yes,
They take so much time, so many people, so many decisions have to get
Yeah.
made. I feel like we didn't see giant AAA games go this incomplete
Yeah.
in other generations.
Oh, yeah.
And ship. Because
Yeah.
sometimes they would get canceled.
Yeah.
These things are shipping. They ship Metal Gear Solid 5. They ship
poor
Final
direction,
Fantasy 15.
ultimately.
This is
Is it just like where we're
I
at?
think this is a good segue into the next like news thing, which is there's no PlayStation conference for E3. This has never happened in 24 years. There's no place. Did you hear about this? There's no E3 PlayStation conference.
Well,
And that kind of like
that screws our channel.
Here we go,
but
Xbox. Here we go.
Yeah, I just think this generation, as amazing as it's been, the game like Phantom Pain and like Bloodborne and like just a smorgasbord of fun titles that we got. Even Final Fantasy 15 with its problems, whatever. But even there in those, it's like we didn't complete. You know what I mean? Like you didn't stick the landing. There wasn't a lot of sticking the landing with a lot of these games. And yeah, I just think it just got so expensive.
Well,
And I don't know. I feel like things are wrapping up. Like for Sony not to have this E3, for this E3.
I do
think
understand
that
their
is-
reasoning, though.
I think it's more of an indicator of they're
It's the
riding
end.
out this gen. They've announced everything for this gen
Yeah.
that's already coming out.
It's over. Now, I think that the worst part, though, is that there is going to be that time when the PS5 does officially get announced and they start making games for that. Yeah, that 2 year in between
Yeah,
the
it's going
PS4.
to be that 2 year kind of.
It's-
That's like PS4, PS3.
Yeah,
Every kind of
it's
generation has it.
but that to me is the worst time in gaming.
Yeah.
Because you've got this new expensive hardware with
Yes.
nothing to play.
Yeah,
And
it's,
we waited 2 years until
Mhm.
good stuff started.
it really sucks because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is really just not a good
It's
time
2
to
years
play.
away.
I
Hey,
bought a PS4 when Phantom Pain came out.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
and but at that point,
That
like,
was my selling point.
there
yeah.
were a couple things that I could
And man,
get.
that was the best time to get on board.
I bought
That
a
was
PS4
when
when the
and
last
I've
Remastered
had a
came out.
I've had a time with the PS4.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never played a PlayStation since PlayStation 1 the way that I've played the PlayStation
Yeah.
4.
Great library.
It's
but,
it's a great. You just know it's coming.
Oh yeah, it's definitely wrapping up. So
Do we think that and this always gets asked, right? Whenever we see towards the end of a generation, we see these games that look unbelievable, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, that might be a next gen game, but it never works out that way. Look at the launch lineup of just about every non-Nintendo console. It always sucks.
Oh,
it
it's
always
terrible.
sucks. Every launch
Xbox
sucks.
and PlayStation, the launch titles always suck.
You get a sports
So
game.
I look at these Ghosts of Tsushima, I look at Death Stranding, I look at Last of Us 2, and I'm like, are one of these maybe a launch title? But probably not. They never are. Like,
They can't.
I wish
It'd be great if
I
one
hope,
of them
I
would
hope
be.
they figure it out because when Twilight Princess came out on Wii, that's
Oh
one of my
my
favorite launch titles of all
gosh.
time.
Because you got the new
That
box
was-
and the new
Yeah.
freaking game day one. That's
To
how
be
Breath
fair,
of the Wild
that was a cross gen with GameCube, but
That's how Breath of the Wild
but
was.
man, that came out day and date as the Wii.
Breath of the Wild was the same way.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild,
and,
a great
that was
launch
the
title.
best launch of a
Oh, yeah.
console.
It
All
just
I needed
keeps
was
me.
Zelda.
It just the only console I ever really think I'll buy day one is a Nintendo console.
Yeah,
I just can't buy anything else day one.
Well, the Switch was the first console I bought day one, but it's also the first time a console launched that I was really engaged in the conversation. Because when the Xbox and PS4, Xbox One and PS4 launched, I was following gaming, but I was not trying to get this stuff day one.
Well, if anything, this should be Microsoft's chance to really push the Xbox for one last go. So
I'm telling you right now, next year it's going to be similar to this year. They're going to talk a lot. They're going to put out Crackdown and Forza 9 and whatever.
Forza
But
9.8.
they really are getting their wagons set for launch. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to try to come out next gen all guns ablazing.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
I think
They
they're
have to
gonna-
have a good launch lineup for whatever the next thing
And I'm
is.
telling you, they're going to announce the new gen, and it's going to be like, No more discs. Everything's streamable.
They announced
Boom.
the Xbox One. There's a new Xbox One, like kind of, or was that a leak? I don't know officially.
Huh?
It leaked that the next Xbox, whatever the
Or
project,
it's a slim model. It's a slim model.
there's going to be 2 boxes at launch. There's going to be a probably $400 box that is their new console.
I'm
and
talking
then there
about
will
the
be-
Xbox One. I don't know if this leaked or whatever. That a slim model of the Xbox One's coming out without a disc.
That's
reader.
what I'm talking about. That's not. I don't think that's.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the next.
No,
I am talking about the
the
next.
final Xbox.
It
has
leaked
been
that
released
they're
with
going to
the X.
also
Oh,
release.
also, okay.
It's going to be the new Xbox, but then they'll also release a $100 box that streams the whole Xbox library, and you just pay for Game Pass or whatever, and you can just play it streaming. But it's $100, and you can play all their exclusives.
So why would I buy an Xbox?
We've talked about this
Because
before.
if you want to have their in-person hardware that runs games,
We've talked about this before with, like, we can kind of get a pulse of where everybody at, like, the mainstream is with gaming, like, nephews or nieces or, like, coworkers and stuff. My nephew asked, we were at holidays going on and stuff, but at dinner and stuff, I had heard, his mom was like, yeah, he's wanting Game Pass. He's mentioning Game Pass stuff. And it's like, wow, like, people...
Yep.
Kids, like...
It's catching
kids
on.
It's catching on.
If you imagine
They're
when you were a
pushing
kid...
the heck out of that.
If you imagine when you were a kid,
It's
you
basically
get
Netflix,
one
but-
game every now and then.
Yeah.
You
Or
get
you go to
Game
the
Pass,
rental.
all these games, doesn't even matter if they're good. All these games you
That
can
was
download
that
any
was
of them.
it. You'd go to Hollywood Video, and you have like $10. You're like, you can rent a game, and you're like, I don't care if it's the crappiest game.
Yeah.
It's a new game.
Yep. And some of the stuff on Game Pass, you can play all the Banjo games.
Yeah.
You can play all sorts of stuff on there. Like, so I was talking to a guy at work, and he was saying, my kid, he's like, all he wants is Game Pass. He just wants to play all these games.
It's happening.
And Xbox in general. I was watching this thing, and they were talking about how right now Xbox is in dead last, and they know they're in dead last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? They're trying to get all these different niche groups into Xbox and getting them feeling good about the brand. So they're going to like people that are into like okay, here's a good example, very positive. They're really trying to hammer home accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who has accessibility issues, we're the console for you, right? Anybody who's into what I don't know what are other examples, these weird games where you just get on like Sea of Thieves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're trying to go after all these different groups, and basically they're trying to say get on Xbox because they're just trying to gear up and rebuild their community from the ground up. But it's weird. I don't know if any of you guys watched that X1008 or whatever,
Nope.
X108. I pulled that up while we were out filming somewhere, X018. And I pulled it up, and it was like a live crowd. And there were people, like, they looked like they were demon-possessed. And they were like, Sea of Thieves! Sea of Thieves! And every time they went to go announce something, they'd be jumping out like, State of Decay! State of Decay! And I was like, dude, these people are paid.
Yeah,
bro.
definitely.
It looked so fake. But, I don't know. That's what they're playing right now, is they're just trying to get anybody and everybody into into that brand again. But kids love Xbox. And it's because of Minecraft.
Yeah.
Kids love Minecraft, and even though you can play Minecraft on anything, it's considered cool. I was talking to one of my coworkers. Their kids said they have Minecraft on Switch and they can play with their friends, but all their friends have Xbox and they want an Xbox. Because all the kids, it's cool to be on Xbox.
It comes down to like what do your friends play online with? If it's Xbox, you're getting an Xbox. If it's PlayStation, you're getting.
You had those teenagers.
I talked about like
they were playing my Xbox. It was the most that ever got played in my whole life.
Hey, they were sitting there and they're
Xbox.
like, they're playing Halo, and they're like, I don't even like Halo.
Yeah, and they were playing Fortnite and Halo.
But they wouldn't touch the PlayStation.
Well, here's the big kicker. I had a PlayStation 4 in the other room, and guess what they were playing? Star Wars Battlefront 2.
But
and I was like, I have Fortnite on there. Like, why would I play it on there when I can play it on the Xbox? And I was like,
what? So there's that, but then think about outside of, I would say Spider-Man is the biggest teen and young kid driver. Other than that, kids don't care about Bloodborne. They don't care about God of War. Kids don't care about God of War. They don't care about Death Stranding. They don't care about Last of Us. They don't care.
I'm serious.
Fogies right here playing.
Hey, they don't care about that.
Middle
stuff. They care about Minecraft.
Love Windows.
Do what?
Middle schoolers just love Windows.
Yeah.
All the I have a small sample size, so it's hard for me. Like,
no, I see it too.
It was just so mind blowing because I'm
Xbox
like,
is
I have a PlayStation 4 that does. They're like, but you have a computer, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I have a computer. It's awesome. They're like, but you also have an Xbox, and I'm like, PS4.
There's a point, and you can't. Like,
there is a point, and I don't know, because I think this is what allows them to stand boldface and like know they don't have any exclusives but not care. Is kids don't care about the exclusives. Like,
Yeah.
they really don't, some of them. Like,
they'd rather play Madden 18 on the Xbox than play Madden 19
it's
on the
weird.
PS4.
It's the brand.
Yeah, I think people were kind of connected from the Xbox 360 or whatever, but they kind of wrote out.
So, and another group, they're really getting into retro, like they're really pushing the retro games. The remastering of original Xbox games is not making them any money. People don't play it, but they're using it to push and say all these people who are into retro games, older games, Xbox 360 games, hey, come be on Xbox because we'll carry you through all the way. We're going to let you play.
We'll let you play whatever.
Yeah.
If we made it, you can have it.
That is the coolest thing they're doing.
Yeah.
But to end this off, this discussion, I think next year they're going to tease the heck out of this PS5, whatever. I think that's going to come. I think Xbox might get their little.
The
tease.
Boomerang controller's coming out.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring that design back out.
You never heard of the Boomerang
the
controller?
PS3.
I'll show you later.
And then I'm thinking this stuff is launching 2020. I think the new decade, we're going to get new consoles, shiny new PS5, an Xbox 360, but it'll actually be spelled out. That's what they'll name the next one because they did it with Xbox One. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going. But
it's that time of our lives.
Time of our lives.
You know what's the time of your life?
What?
It's time for you to get lost.
It is time for me to get lost. See ya. Lost. I finished it again. Me and my wife finished seasons 5 and 6 up recently. Here's the thing: after revisiting the seasons, I have a new appreciation for a lot of them. Like 4 and stuff, I think is one of the stronger ones. I kind of forgot about that. 5 is my least favorite. It still has some incredible moments in it. Still some of my favorite moments in the show are in 5.
It's such a yawn.
But 5 gets lost. It loses its way a little bit. The show has a.
I watched that with one eye open.
The show has a good flow of like stuff happening on the island and people breaking off in the island and like new setting stuff. But in 5, they kind of have an uphill battle they have to face with. Spoiler alerts for those that haven't seen it. Again, I don't know why I'm talking about season 5. You get it. They're off the island. There's people off the island. There's people in the past. There's people in the present on the island before it goes to the they have to literally go. Someone will go someone will say, I wonder about this. It'll go to black, and it'll pop on the screen 30 years earlier. And then they'll do that. And that's okay. That's kind of cool if it's once or twice, but it happens a multiple times.
It's like a Family Guy
per episode.
cutaway.
And again, season 5 has some of my favorite moments in the show. Still has those moments where it's just oh my gosh, we're going back in time again. We're doing this. And I even I think that is the coolest thing that they get to. They were actually part of the Dharma Initiative. It's this legendary thing. It's you were part of it. With the time travel
Absolutely.
stuff.
That was really
so cool a reveal, but
Mm-hmm.
It gets disjointed, and it's just a hard thing. Writers, for that to fit into these episodes, these 4 or 5 minute episodes, I see that they had an uphill battle. That was frick.
It's kind of a weird thing because they came out at the end of season 3 and they were hey, or during season 4, and they're hey, we want to tell tighter stories. Mm-hmm. So we're limiting ourselves. We've got a approved number of episodes per season for the next 3 seasons, and that's it. But in a weird way, with that new restriction, I feel like the show got sloppier. Isn't that so weird?
Yeah, I think
they didn't have to fill 24 episodes, but they got sloppier, and it doesn't really make sense. It's still a good show,
but 5, really gets just 1 hit points. Awesome finale. I think one of the best finales.
Yeah, I think it's
5.
What I love,
1 to 5,
that's Are we in full spoiler? We got to be in full spoiler.
Yeah, we're full spoiler.
That's when Juliet gets sucked down into the into where the hatch was. And
so then season 6. Season 6 is one of my favorites. I think it's season 1 and season 6 very close. Mm-hmm. Because season 6 it has the biggest trick up its sleeve, which is 5, there's no way you could tell this. 5 ends with the Juliet thing. Mm-hmm. And then you see all the characters, but they're doing something different. And they're oh my gosh, they're in an alternate reality or whatever. And there's no fan theory that could have predicted what actually happened. They had that, locked. And that is such a cool reveal at the end that it's no, you died.
Yeah.
Like, everyone died.
Yeah.
And that is I will say also, I've seen this, like, because I would watch it with you, like, when some of our friends were watching for the first time, I would pop in. This is the first time I watched it again, like, all the way through, like, without stopping for certain episodes. And I still cried a lot.
Yeah.
I still cried a lot.
It's the
like,
most
tears coming
emotionally
down my
charged.
face. Yeah.
It's the most emotionally charged finale of a show.
When the characters each wake up, like, and realize that they died and, like, they had this other life or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, Charlie and Claire's is the one that destroys me the most. Like, for some reason, their story destroys me the most. But I love, like, have you seen it? Have you saw whatever? But, man, Jack and Locke's interactions are... And, like, the other characters, because he wakes up, he sees it like everybody else, but just like in season 1... And, you know, throughout the show, Jack is a man of science. He is not a man of faith. He like, this is how it is. You know, there's explanations here. And, like, for him to, like, he sees it again, and he goes through that same thing in season 6 of, like, he'll see it, and Locke's like, did you see that? Or whatever. Like, he heals, like, Locke, you know, or whatever, and it's like, I didn't, you know, I think you need to rest. Like, and you know what I mean? He's ignoring that all again, and it's just like, oh. I
think
Beautiful.
what I love so much about the finale of that show is it's way more interested in emotionally wrapping up the show than it is in factually wrapping up the show. And people cannot understand that. I talk to people that are like, oh, well, they were just dead the whole time and they didn't explain. I'm like, no, number one, that's not true. But number two, like, you're totally missing. It's emotional storytelling. Yeah. It's way more about the emotion.
It's more about what they were trying to say.
They're trying to say about the bigger things of life. Than what they're trying to literally talk about smoke and stuff like that. That
show, towards the end, they really get... There's a show... The show is about multiple things, and they try to touch on different philosophy, different whatever. You know, religion, faith, or whatever is a ton of in it. You know, man of faith, man of science. They touch on a lot of stuff, actually, in the show. But one of the core... I think the core main point of the whole show is moving on. Moving on and letting go. And that is the finale. When he's there, and Jack's like, you know... you know, what was the island like? What happened? He's like, you died. You know, and I think that's the ultimate letting go is like realizing you died, like you know what I mean, and moving on to this next stage. And that's what they couldn't move on without each other. I thought that was so cool. Like each of these people in your life, like they mean something. You know what I mean? And like
they had to go together.
Yes, they had to go together, and like now they're able to move on. Like everyone that came on the island, and Jacob actually says this, they're like, why'd you bring us this? Like, Sawyer gets kind of mad at Jacob at one of the final, like, third, you know, like, third, I don't know, one of the final episodes or whatever. They have a conversation. He's like, why'd you bring us here or whatever? And there's people that died, what they were here for. And it's like, you know, why'd you take us off where we were living? You brought us here. And he said, your lives weren't great. Like, everyone's life, if you look back at the show, everyone's life sucked, and they were either, like, alcoholics, or, like, trying to run from the cops.
Or jail, something like that.
Or, like, trying to, like, murder people, you know, like, murdered somebody. It's like, everybody's life sucked, but, like, coming to the island, it's like, they all, like, grew from that, and they all loved each other. But that show wraps up beautiful. When that church, and Jack walks into the church and sees everybody there, bawling my eyes out. Yeah. And I've seen that finale like 5 times, and I'm still bawling my eyes out. But beautiful show, my favorite show of all time. If you have not seen it, I've spoiled the whole thing, but you should check it out. But I'm
makes me want to rewatch it.
Definitely worth rewatching multiple times.
I feel like I'd rewatch it if I had a girlfriend.
I've probably seen it all the way through 3 times.
Yeah, it's.
But I haven't watched it since probably college.
I watched it all the way through once. Brittany and I watched
the first episode.
The first 2 episodes.
I've seen those first couple seasons probably 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, the first like 3.
Because whenever I get a friend that would start watching it, I'd watch it with them.
So this is the first time I've sat
and those episodes are so addicting. You can just sit there all. I could sit. There were entire summers. I just sit there and watch through the season.
Man,
I watched the first 4 seasons in what was it? 3 days?
3
4
days.
days. Something stupid like that.
Whoa.
I wasn't sleeping. I was staying the whole night and watching this show.
But one thing I wanted to swing back to games real quick before we go into like movies and stuff. Prima Games shut down. We had Telltale this year, but now we have Prima Games. They were they made the guidebooks or whatever.
Maybe no one wants to buy a book when you can get it on the internet.
Yeah, I think people can just get that online or whatever. But I had like some like strategy guides I would like. I had all those Zelda like hardcover stuff was like Prima, like those like really nice
those
hardcover
nice
Zelda.
strategy guides.
Those were Prima or whatever I found out. Like, but kind of sad. Like, but I mean, it's been a long time coming. Like people.
Yeah,
YouTube,
it's interesting because I was looking at one recently. I don't remember where I was, but I was looking at one. I was like, man, this takes me way back.
Yeah.
But I was looking through it and I was kind of reading. I don't remember what the game was, but I was like, whoa. I was like, the level of detail in these things, it exceeds what's on the internet.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. You get on like Game Informer or whatever.
Yeah.
You get on these sites and like I'm going through God of War and I'll Google like God of War chapters and I'll pull it up. It'll give me the list. I can click on them and it'll say, there'll be a couple pictures. And like, oh, you do this and you do this. Those strategy guides are like, I would have no problem understanding the perk system in God of War. This guy would give me a dissertation on it.
Yeah.
So there is something of value being lost, and they were collector's items. People loved collecting them.
I loved those hardcover Zelda books.
But I think that they go back to a time where like you would only own a game or two a year, or like you'd get a big game for Christmas or a big game for your birthday. Because when you got that big game and you knew you were going to be playing that game for an unbelievable amount of time, and you get that guide too. They go hand in hand. Like I had a guide for Ocarina of Time, and I'd play the game and I'd read the guide. I'd play the game and I'd read the guide, and I'd play back through it. I'd read the guide. Nowadays, as an adult, and I have literally piles of games shrink wrapped I've ever played, and my backlog is exploded on Steam. Like I don't even have time like to read a guide for a game I'm liking. Like I don't even I like playing blind, but two. If somebody gave me a guide, I'd be like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like,
one thing that was interesting when I went back a couple, like 2 or 3 years ago and played Final Fantasy VIII. I remembered I was like, wait a second. When I bought this or whatever, when I was like, I got a big kick when I played Final Fantasy VII. I bought 8 and 9, all that stuff, and I was like, I bought the guide with that, and sure enough, I checked and I had the guide.
Oh, wow.
So I played that 2 or 3 years ago with the guide open, and I hadn't done that since I was a kid.
Wow.
And it was a really great experience. Like it was.
I might need to pick a game here sometime and do well, I guess it'll have to be an older game. Time is shutting down. But.
Yeah, maybe not do
I'll
it
tell
soon.
you what, I played through Pokemon, what was it, Ruby and Sapphire.
Those would be good games to have.
And actually, I had Silver, Gold, and Crystal too, with a guide. And I mostly knew, but those were neat because you had art in there that wasn't in there.
Sometimes they come with posters.
They had posters. But like. Each section you could walk through and you could open the guide and it would be like, don't miss this Pokemon. Don't miss this Pokemon.
On Pokemon games, I loved when you would open it up and they'd show the entire town.
Yes.
On one big picture.
Yeah.
And it gave you a layout that you didn't have otherwise.
Yep. And you would know which buildings
But
to
that's
go
a perfect
to.
example of the kind of thing that you don't really even have nowadays. I guess in some games the maps aren't great.
Guys, there's always the internet.
That's true. I forgot about the internet.
Yeah. You know,
Well, also we live in a day and age where these games get patched and like things change
That's
in
true.
ways.
I bet there's another
Things
thing that
change
killed
in ways that like they used to. They got the game.
They actually give an downloadable version of the guide, and they would update those. Sometimes.
No way.
They would
Wow.
update those if they were close to launch.
But
or
if
whatever.
you think about the
I
Prima
didn't
guide
know
for
that.
Final Fantasy 15, the thing's useless now. Probably. Like I heard they changed entire chapters.
I never thought about that. That probably has something to do with it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pour one out for Prima Games. Rest in peace. Yeah, I want to talk about movies.
I was able to watch. I know we really just kind of went with gaming and stuff like that, but there was a TV show I was able to start again.
Wow.
I don't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, he doesn't.
But when I do watch TV, it's like I watch the same thing over and over
Dragon
again.
Ball.
No, I actually. Travis will can attest to this. I have some form of Dragon Ball Z playing at least every night. Some form of something.
Every time I'm over there, Dragon Ball's playing.
I love it. It's the greatest. It's the best anime ever.
So what'd you start?
Scrubs.
Scrubs.
And I've watched Scrubs 3 times. It's
How many seasons is it?
Scrubs has 10. Because they added.
Wow. You're in for a long haul.
Well, I'm okay with that because I watch it every night when I go to bed, which is fine. But
yeah, you just turn it on.
the last season is kind of like it's bleh, whatever. But the whole 9 of them is just. I have never experienced a show. See, and that's what I'm not going to pitch it to you guys because,
I thought it was fine. I just have a major issue with it, which I would watch it and I was like, this is fun, but then they would make a joke or whatever, and the next second is like, yeah, this guy's got a terminal disease and he died.
But see, that's
and then it gets really, really sad.
I love it.
And And I did not like that. I did
Really?
I did not like the big pitch kind of.
Because here's where, in the world that we live in now, with like
shift of that.
the doctors and all that stuff, like that's the most dramatic work field there
Yeah.
is in the medical field. So they're like, why not make a show about it? And here, you know, you had Grey's Anatomy and you have all this other stuff that's coming out, which I don't really care for. But here you had a show that's like 2002, you know, let's go through a life of a doctor, and like from start to finish. And it's so funny because you get to see this whole thing. Because the guy's monologuing the whole every single season. Yeah. So you're constantly going through his thoughts. You're constantly experiencing what he's experiencing. You know, the heartbreak, the relationships you build. You know, but also the comedy. The comedy to me is like third level compared to the character development and like the drama. Yeah. Because the storytelling's so good.
You're in it for the story.
Yeah, I love the story because I love the characters. Like
you like the characters. Yeah.
The characters are so like. They're funny because I know the characters. It's not funny because they tell a joke. Yeah. You know, poop is not funny. It's the person saying poop that's funny. Yeah. So, I love the show. I don't know, like, why I love it so much, but I'll sit there and get giddy, and then I'll cry.
Popular show.
I'll cry the next episode because...
You'll laugh and you'll cry.
But that's the kind of stuff I enjoy, though, is, like, stuff I can get emotionally invested in.
And you like really long shows?
I do.
Because you like to spend a lot of time with the characters.
Yeah, like
you don't like to let go.
No,
you need to watch Lost and let go.
I watched Lost.
Let it go, Jack.
I watched Lost and I sat there and I no-lifed it to the point where Josh took over for me because I watched it with Josh. No, first started with Jeffrey. Me and Jeffrey started watching it. Watched it for a week straight. Got to season 2. Me and Jeffrey's like, we need to take a break. And Josh was like,
did you watch them live as they were premiering?
No, we watched it on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Or Hulu, whatever it was on. But then Josh, I found out, got ahead of us and got to season 3. And I was like, Josh, and he's like, I don't work, I don't go to school. He's like, of course I'm going to watch this. And Josh is the biggest Lost supporter I've ever met.
Oh, really?
He loves that show.
Wow, yeah.
He no-lifed it more than, you know, I did. I had to, like, break it up and, like, start watching it.
So Lost probably really killed you because you love, like, characters and stuff. And that show
I was more upset.
It's deep in the characters.
I was more upset because at times I just didn't understand what they were going through.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you okay? I just don't get it. At the end, now I understand it better.
Yeah, you didn't know what was going on.
It took a lot of, like I had to read stuff and kind of... I ain't gonna lie, that show for me is up, down, right, left.
When I watched that show, the last 3 seasons I watched live, and I followed... Did you ever follow, like, Lost podcasts?
I didn't, because I only watched the last
I
season
got into a couple of them, because for 3 seasons, you'd sit there in between seasons, and they do reactions every episode. But there was this one podcast, and I don't know what their name was, but I listened to this thing every week for 3 years. It was the first podcast I ever listened to. I listened to these guys every week. And they had the funniest meme, or it was this ongoing joke, and they called these people the log carriers. Because there would always be in scenes, like, random people just, like, all they're doing is just carrying logs. And they went back and they counted all the log carriers that died from, like, getting hit by flaming arrows and just, like, getting killed by others. And they were like, more people have died. More log carriers. They would keep a running count of how many log carriers died throughout the season. But they went back and added up. They're like, more log carriers have died than people that were even on the manifest. They're like, they're respawning. Like, they were talking about it. But they would always joke about log carriers and stuff. And that was just one of the funniest jokes. I still remember that ongoing joke on that podcast.
I just like tossing that little nugget out there, though, because that is, like, honestly, you guys talk about Lost like that. Scrubs is my all-time, like, this is my favorite show. Cool. So I'll break it down. I'm halfway through season 1, so JD's just now getting into the nitty gritty. But
only 9 more to go.
I'm excited. I really am.
If anybody can fly through that, Jacob can. You watched freaking Naruto.
I rewatched Naruto. I'm caught up all the way to Boruto.
What?
Yeah.
You
so
rewatched it?
I watched Naruto 1. I rewatched Naruto Shippuden, and I got all the way caught up through that. I played the game. And then I'm on Boruto, and I got caught all the way to Boruto.
When you explained Boruto to me, I thought you were as a joke. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Kenny to watch Boruto.
He's trying. He got me into Naruto. When we were
the greatest moment of my life.
When we were still roommates. I would hang out in Jacob's room sometime. He got me into Naruto. He was just like, here, just watch the first episode. And I was like, okay, this isn't bad. Like 15 episodes later, I'm hooked on this show. How many episodes are there? 400 and something.
In Naruto 1, it's like.
No, it's
like Naruto 1's like
total. There's like 600 something episodes, right?
Oh no, yeah,
one show.
It's like 7 something. Yeah, it's high.
Anyway,
they're not even done with.
I flew through Naruto.
Hey, Kenny, you went through all of Naruto?
Yes.
And there's 400 something episodes?
Yes.
Leftovers has 30.
I'll watch it, I promise.
I've been trying to get these guys to watch
Naruto.
Leftovers
Then I
forever.
flew through Shippuden, caught up to where I had to watch it subbed, and then I watched it subbed until they ran out of episodes. They weren't done yet.
The game came
and
out.
I was like, I have to fit. I was so down.
He was fiending. He was like this. He was like scratching.
I
He
was like,
dopamine.
I have to finish this thing.
How much dopamine?
Borrowed the game from Jacob, and the game came out before the ending of the story of the anime. I beat the game.
Bawled
to
my
get
eyes out.
The ending of the
Figure out,
story.
yeah.
Bawled my eyes out to the ending of the game and said, "This chapter of my life is behind me. I'm moving on." Jacob
So they
comes up
showed
to
the
me
ending of the show in the game?
Yeah, and like it wasn't
I
out
remember
yet.
that.
because the manga was out, right?
Yeah, the manga
The
was
manga story was
wrapping
done.
up.
And they were almost to the end in the anime. They were in a chunk where they were just doing some filler stuff.
They were in the
All
tree of
these characters were
Tsukunumi.
trapped in these
Like a lot of
cocoons,
the shows.
and they were having their energy sucked out of them. And each character was stuck in a dream inside this
chakra.
cocoon, and they were going through each character's dream. And I was like, I just want to know what happens.
And the
when
best
these guys
part,
get out.
hey, before we go any farther, Japanese culture is so different because there was an episode where they took all the girls who were flat chested and made them big chested, and all the girls who were big chested and made them flat chested. And that was the only difference. I swear to you,
that was an episode.
I did not watch
that was an episode because the personalities didn't change. It was just that was the only thing that changed. And I was like,
What?
what in the world? That makes no sense. Why was that
That was
there?
a filler episode?
Yes,
a
it was
literal filler.
It was a literal
episode?
filler.
Literal
So they
filler.
had they had all that filler stuff, and I was like, I just have to. I was barreling through this show. I had to get through it. I got through it, and several months later, Jacob approaches me. Hey, when are you gonna start watching Boruto? And I was like, never.
I'm just going to say right now, Boruto is the worst translation decision. You might as well call him Bozo. Like, that is the dumbest name I've ever heard.
I'm 30 episodes in, and I'm like, this is a good show. Like, this is where it should be. I think you'd like it.
I got invested in Naruto and his arc and his story and his
Just want to
situation.
throw up. Just
But
thinking
you're going to
about it.
understand why Naruto struggles because you know Naruto's a kid. Now imagine him trying to be a parent.
Oh gosh.
Once you told me about the flat-chested girls part, I'm out on that.
Oh, yeah. That was the killer.
Switching.
Episode 697.
Aye, aye.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I watched though all
Hold on.
700 or what episodes and the game. I did it all between like October
Well, this was
and
also
January.
Wasn't it during
Speaking
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, Kenny would I come in and he'd be on the couch. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm watching this fight. I'm like, Kenny, this is like 3 seasons ahead of where we just watched. He's like, yeah. He's like, I took the day off.
Speaking of TV show games, did you ever play the Lost game?
No, but I want to, and it would be a really fun.
That would be a good hangout. That just crossed my mind.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I do know. I think I might have showed you and talked about it before with some of you guys. There's a part in the Lost game that they were not able to get the original voice actors, and they got what I believe is some Native American man to play John Locke. And
What?
there's a part when you see John Locke, and he goes,
This is giving me a headache.
"Oh, you gotta go over here by the banyan trees," and that is like you can go on YouTube and search it. People make memes about it because it is so not John Locke. Like it doesn't sound
Dude, we
nothing
gotta
like
play that
him.
on a
But he goes,
screen.
over by the banyan trees.
Hey, son, over here. I'm over here at the banyan trees. Hey, son, over here. I'm over here at the banyan trees. Hey, son, over here. I'm over here at the banyan trees.
That's like
So classic. We will check that out at some point. I do want to get
It's
that.
like
'cause
Lost
that's like-
Invictus or something.
Was it on the Wii?
we had
It was
a
on 360 and PS3 and all
Okay.
that. But enough of that. I do want to get into movie stuff.
I have a good transition for this.
Okay. You
Your
watched?
John Locke thing.
Yeah.
So when we had a little hangout instead of going out Black Friday shopping. We got together, watched a movie. So I'm very prone to falling asleep at public events, and
Seriously.
they put on Sharknado 6,
Final Sharknado.
and I'm laying down. I fall asleep. I wake up, and they're somehow in the middle of the Revolutionary War, and all that I can remember from this scene is Ben Franklin and George Washington are talking. and they've got a southern accent. They gave them like if they were
What?
from the South. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm
I do
half
say.
asleep, and even my half asleep self says they would have British accents. They would be talking like the same people they're fighting against, but they're not.
They
They're
weren't even
talking
just
like,
Southern accents. They were like
They sounded like George Bush.
no, they sounded like dopey, like
Yeah.
hill guys.
But yeah, Sharknado 6, we did check out Sharknado 6. I think these are just goofy fun. They are extremely bad. There is a scene when they time travel into like the old Wild West, and they have like a shootout, and a Sharknado comes by and bites the person's arm with the gun, and it keeps shooting in the shark's mouth as the shark moves. They're just really stupid, and
They're like a playpen of like, what's the dumbest ways we can kill people with
Yeah.
sharks flying through the air.
yeah, so that is finally over. Good riddance. Aside from that, I watched another movie that was probably a little bit of a mess. Other Side of the Wind, and that's a combo. There's a combo with this movie, and it's called They'll Love Me When I'm Dead. So Netflix put out Orson Welles, the director of Citizen Kane. You might have heard of it. He was a Baroto fan.
Good.
They put out his final.
Baruto.
They put out his final movie called Other Side of the Wind. They never finished it. He was in the middle of editing it, and then
What
he
era was that?
passed away.
Like
This
70s?
was mid 70s, and it took I think it went into the 80s or whatever. They were filming parts or whatever. It was kind of like the roar of movies,
wow.
I guess. But less lions were involved. But so what they did is, I didn't even know about this. I knew Other Side of the Wind was coming out on Netflix. I was like, I want to check this out. But they also put out They'll Love Me When I'm Dead, and it's about the making of this movie. And it is crazy what, like, Orson Welles, like, at that point, I didn't really know about Orson, but he kind of got, like, kind of blacklisted from Hollywood. He made Citizen Kane, he made a movie, then he made a movie called See Evil, I'm blanking on this. See Evil, something with evil. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, I don't know. But basically he made this movie, and he said in interviews, he's like, I don't know what they didn't like, I don't know what happened, but they were like done with him. They wouldn't touch any of his projects and whatever. So he went to Europe and made a bunch of stuff, and he came back. And Other Side of the Wind was going to be his like Renaissance, his like comeback movie, and like he got awarded for some big award, and like he thought this was going to be it, and he basically was scrapping together people like if we were going to film something. Like, he was getting people together, and, like, this one guy was really loyal to him, and, like, filming all this stuff, and, like, it's really super interesting. If you're into filmmaking and any of that stuff, it's really cool to check out. Other Side of the Wind is a very funny movie. It is, like, little vignettes. It's a movie within a movie. It's very ambitious. It has, like, a character that's filming a movie, and then you also get to see the movie he's filming.
Oh, wow.
So what's really cool, there's parts in the movie when, like, they start screening parts, and then the film projector keeps messing up, and they're like, "Keep playing the movie." And he's like, "Film projector's messed up. Come back in an hour." So they leave, and then you get to see the story within the filmmakers.
Oh,
and
wow.
then they come back and they play a little bit more of the movie. The film projector messes up or whatever, or there's some thing that goes on.
So it's a framing device, basically.
Yes,
yeah.
and it's really cool. I've never seen anything like it, and it's so frantically cut because they had to like finish editing. What he didn't finish editing.
He died while he was making it?
I think they died before he got to finish it. And one thing you'll learn in that, like, They'll Love Me When I'm Dead, he kind of would do that with certain projects. He would get to the thing and he would hate to finish it. He would hate to finish the project or whatever. He would just do all this work, and then he would just leave it kind of half done or whatever. But really recommend those. They're both on Netflix. Really funny, kind of weird kind of things. At one point, they were losing their minds because nobody knew what the script was. Nobody knew what the movie was freaking about. Other Side of the Wind. That they said in that making of thing, they were like, he kept having these mannequins. Like, there was a school bus full of these mannequins, and they're like, what are we doing with the mannequins? Why are they here? And he's like, those are very important. And like, they play a big part in the finished thing.
But they didn't know.
But what's funny is they kind of even slipped in the script. They go, what the hell is going on with these mannequins? like even the characters they made the characters in the thing go like, what's going on with these? And I'm pissed
So
off.
is it better to watch the documentary and then the movie, or the movie and then the documentary?
I actually watched the making of, or like the story about it, and then I watched it to
Okay.
give a better appreciation.
I
of,
feel like that's what I would want to do.
that's what
Makes
I would
sense.
recommend doing. It's
Cool,
really
cool.
it's a wild, funny ride. It's really funny.
I kept thinking, why have I heard this guy's name before? And then I realized, and then it clicked in my head, is this the same guy who did the War of the Worlds on the radio?
Yes.
And I was like,
He was also a
I
writer,
just
wasn't
Googled
he?
him.
Yeah.
He was like
Wait,
really like famous in the creative world. I just like
He was a
glanced at his
writer.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
He did stuff on Broadway. He
Yeah.
did stuff on radio, and
Yeah.
and I was like, holy stinking smokes! What
And I
has
do
this
want to
guy
watch
done?
his other movies because a couple people in the interview or in that making of thing said people like Citizen Kane's is like an awesome classic movie, but they were like a lot of people were coming in and was like, oh, I don't even think that's his best one. Like there's other ones
Yeah.
that he made in Europe and all that stuff. It's like I think he made better movies, but
Yeah.
like, he got blacklisted, so we never saw him, I guess. But yeah, so watched that. I watched 8th Grade. Have you guys heard about this?
I've heard about this, but I don't remember.
This is the
what I've heard.
movie from the director Bo Burnham.
Don't even know what that is.
Yeah, the
Whoa.
comedian.
He's the comedian guy on YouTube. He
Was
made
he a
the little-
skateboarder?
I didn't
No.
know he directed
Bob
it. I heard
Burnquist.
of it.
But he
Bob Burnquist.
Bob Burnquist. Yeah, he skated into this one. Bo Burnham. So he made funny little YouTube videos for a while. Very famous. Now he's a comedian. But he directed a movie. Yeah, I was like kind of weird, but hey, it came out by A24. The studio
Oh,
put out
yeah.
like The Witch. Put out like
They're
all
like gold.
Their goal, anything by A24, you gotta see it. It could be called "This movie is about garbage." I'd watch it.
It'd probably be a very good
It'd be,
movie.
it'd
a
be
really
the best,
top-notch
it'd be the
movie.
best movie about garbage ever made. But watched 8th Grade with my wife. Very cool. Very very encapsulating the middle school experience. And we talked afterwards. I was telling my wife, I was just like, I think that middle school was like the toughest time. Like kids had a lot harder than me. I didn't get like bullied and stuff or whatever, but like I did see a lot of people get bullied. And I did see like other people surrounding me that like got in fights. It was kind of
Middle
crazy.
school is weird because
It's a lot of growth.
when you're like a kid, when you're in elementary school, you will do anything as long as it's fun. You just want to
Yeah.
have fun. You'll
Yeah.
hear about something and be like, that sounds like fun. Mom, take me to that.
Mm-hmm.
High school, it's all about your friends, right? You will not go to anything unless your friends are going.
Yeah.
Unless someone you know and you're cool with is going and you
Yeah.
know they're going, they know you're going, you'll go. Middle school is that weird in between where kids are starting to make that jump, but they're not doing it all at the same time.
Yeah.
So some kids are still more focused on just having fun, and they
Yeah.
become the weird kids, and
Yeah.
they're just being
Yeah.
who they've always been.
Yeah.
And other kids are learning how to have more connections and be friends.
Yeah.
And some people don't make that jump at the same time, and so you become the weird kid because you're just having fun like
Yeah.
you always have,
Yeah.
and everybody else is getting into this lingo and this way of doing things that's more socially
Yeah.
acceptable. And it's the most awkward time.
They nailed the dialogue because it is like my nephew and stuff talking with him. It is 1-to-1, and it's like we did the same thing with our parents and stuff. It's a lot of, so how was school today? I don't know. What'd you do? Yeah, I don't know. It was cool, I guess. Like it's all I don't know, and yeah, you don't want to say something that makes you seem uncool.
Yeah.
That is a lot of what middle school is. You kind of like have to refine that, fine line. 'Cause
Yeah.
You don't want to seem uncool, so it's all like, I don't know, or if someone says, yeah, it sucks, like, yeah, it does suck. You know what I mean? You try to like
Yeah.
find your tribe at that point in time. But this movie also did a good point of like, everything is kind of major. So they have this girl like go to a pool party in the movie, and like they make it seem like when they open the doors, like she's like so anxiety ridden. But when they open the doors, like they show the kids like squirting water guns and stuff, but they do it with like this monstrous music because it's just annoying. So then the music stops, it comes out, and it's just kids playing in the pool.
That's
But
awesome.
like to her, that's the end of the world. Like
Yeah.
that is like
This is it.
everybody like barely doesn't has less like clothes on. You feel weird about your body at that point in time. So I recommend it.
I'd like to see that.
It is a cool little experience. And then that's all I watched for this month.
I went and saw Venom. It's also kind of like about 8th grade, like just weird
Similar.
stuff happening to your body.
You
know?
can really
Yeah.
explain the
Yeah,
tentacles.
you can't really explain what's
He's
going
got the puberty,
on.
isn't he?
Yeah, a lot of weird
Went and saw
stuff.
Venom. I don't think I talked about this last time. That is a fun, dumb movie.
Is it?
It is like a movie.
Fun dumb.
Yeah, it's like. You remember those old superhero movies that were made like in 2003, like Catwoman and
It's like
Daredevil?
that?
It's
that
like
level?
that. It's that. It's like 10 years of like all these very refined comic book movies never happened, and they
Wow.
just somehow another one of these random ones with no connection to anything. It's goofy and it's got a goofy sense of humor, and there's the weird like ex-girlfriend character and her weird boyfriend, and like it is like, where did this come? This came out of like a black hole is what it feels like. But that works perfect because Venom is literally a creature that comes out of a black hole.
Yeah.
So like it, in a weird way, in a meta way, I went back and forth in my mind of the movie's so over the top and the bad guy is so like almost like twirling his mustache, but like
Oh
just
my
like
gosh, yeah.
but they play it just in a way where I was like, are they aware of what they're doing? Like, is this self-aware or is it not? And you got Tom Hardy like playing this like investigative journalist, and he's like, yo, I was investigating the Life Society. They're doing experiments on dead people. Like, like literally like the most on the nose. Like this is like if an unintelligent like jock tried to write like what an investigative journalist would say, is like these lines, and it's just the dumbest stuff. But it was fun. Like the movie is 90 minutes flat. It is very funny and engaging and goofy and weird, but it doesn't waste your time, and it just does what it does. And so I had fun with it, but it's in some ways it's a crap movie, but I really I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you have fun.
I enjoyed it.
Movies are good
And
sometimes.
it was great. Just eat some popcorn and watch Venom.
The way you
Kill some
described it
people.
to me made me think of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle comes out. Very polished for its time and like very good for a Sonic game. Then you get Shadow the Hedgehog.
It's literally the
comes
Shadow
out of the black hole.
Yeah.
Shadow's running around with a gun.
Yeah, it was very
Joke's
much
on you,
like that.
Shadow's better than the Sonic Adventure Battle too.
It was very much like that, and it was very like screenwriting 101. Like,
give me Shadow Forces.
Eddie Brock makes friends with this homeless woman, and then he goes and investigates the Life Foundation, and Jess, my girlfriend, grabs her. She's like, I bet the homeless woman's getting experimented on. And sure enough, the homeless woman's getting experimented on. And he's like, no, we got to let her out. And it's like, man, this is almost like, it's so obvious that they know what they're doing in a weird... I hope they do. I don't know. Sony makes a lot of bad movies that aren't enjoyable. This was a bad-ish movie that was enjoyable, and I had fun with it. So that was Venom.
All right, well, we've come to the closing of another podcast. But wait. There's one more thing. Another project update. So major project that we've been working on, hidden under the shadows. We're much like Venom and doing experiments.
It's going to be our Shadow the Hedgehog.
This is our Shadow the Hedgehog. Hopefully it had the same level of quality.
It's our Final Fantasy 15.
We'll give you a little bit and then give you the rest in a couple years. No, we are proud to announce... I'm going to say it. Production is done. There's one baby scene. There's one baby scene thing that we got to do here with it, but it is essentially done.
Closed.
It is closed. The major things that were involved with it are done.
Now we're in post.
Now we are in post. I was working on it today. I'm very excited to get it out to you guys. Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say for now. I've spoke too much already. But look forward to that. Next thing, we are on officially Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Every single episode. Yeah.
Retroactively applied.
Retroactively applied, all 22, and then this one will be on there as well when you see this.
22 episodes.
Well, this
Hey,
is
next
22.
year is our 2-year.
Yeah. All the episodes are on there. Subscribe on Apple Podcast. Give us a download. Listen to us in the car. Start that fire in your car, like we mentioned.
Episode 24 next week.
See how that
Not
goes.
next week, next month.
But yeah, check us out on there if you're not a video fan. Now you're a fan.
Yeah.
Audio fan. And then lastly, check us out on DweeBros YT. It's where you'll learn all the news, when we're going streaming, when podcasts are up. If you're not following DweeBros YT, what are you even... Put in a comment if you're not following us and write a paragraph essay.
Yeah.
I want to know why you're not following us. And then I'll grade you. It's probably an F. So thanks for watching. It's been fun. Next week, when you see this or whatever, Game Awards.
Yep.
Final reaction of the year. I'm excited.
Yeah, join
I
us.
hope Joseph
Yeah.
shows up, even though he doesn't have a game coming out this year. But he'll be here.
Supposed to be some
Rumor-
big reveals.
Rumor has it Sonic Forces Game of the Year. Enjoy.
But yeah, so check out that next week, Game Awards, and then next month is our final podcast of 2018. How did that happen?
I don't know.
That's
It's
crazy. But we will be talking about our favorite games. Mostly that's what we did.
Game of the years.
We'll be talking about our games of the year. Talk about new stuff throughout the year, what we liked, what was bad. So tune in for that. That's always a great one.
Quote me on it, but I think last year I said I was going to have Horizon done by now. Uh-oh.
All right, he's got, 1 month. So thank you for watching. And as they say, you know what? If you're watching this podcast, your dopamine levels are probably at 700. If you watch us next month, it's probably 1,000. And then if you go back and watch any of the older episodes, it's probably like close to 2,500.
Yeah.